thing that people often forget about is when you buy an Anwyl home, you obviously get a 2-year Anwyl and a 10-year HBC warranty as well, which is important.
Yeah, definitely.
What other factors, when first-time buyers are buying their first home, make it a good investment for the future? Welcome to the podcast, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I don't know if you want to start with some quicker introductions to yourselves.
I'm Charlotte. I'm a first-time buyer with Anwyl Homes.
I'm Tom. I'm one of the sales managers for Cheshire and North Wales.
Okay, so we are going to be talking a little bit about first-time buyers buying your first home today, a massive step in everyone's life. So I think a good place to start is, Charlotte, as a first-time buyer with Anwyl, how are you finding it? How are you finding being a homeowner?
Amazing. Really, really good. We've been looking for our first home for probably about 2 years now. So it's felt like a long time coming. We're just settling in really well, and it's really good.
So Charlotte, how did you start the process with Anwyl? Did you come down and visit us, or?
Yeah, so prior to looking at Anwyl, we were looking at a different housing development, which didn't work in our favour. We kind of not really had a bad experience, but it kind of really left us a bit disheartened. So we actually just passed the Anwyl sales centre on a random Saturday afternoon. We'd seen it, we live by the development anyway. So we were always driving past, we knew it was there. And we just said, let's just go in. We were quite disheartened by the previous house. So we just went in, we met Debbie, the sales lady at Crossfields, and she was just so lovely, so, welcoming, so informative. She took us around a show home straight away. We hadn't even seen a previous show home in the previous development company. So yeah, she took us around, and it felt right there and then. Yeah. So we actually came back the next day with family and things, and just, I think when it's right. So we just fell in love with it and got the process started.
And how did you find sort of watching the build and things like that?
Yeah, really, really good. It was just, we just felt really lucky to be able to watch the stages. Yeah. So we'd come by every night and just, see where they're up to. And the communication from Debbie at Anwyl was, second to none. We had an update at every stage, even if it was, as small as, little things of happening, this is happening. She always kept us in the loop, which was really important to us because, we had no idea what was going on. We didn't want it just to be sprung upon us that the house was ready. But it just made the build up to moving in really exciting. And she was really great. It was really good.
And I think, Tom, we do see a lot of first-time buyers with Anwyl. What do you find that first-time buyers are looking for when they come to us for their first home?
I think they're looking for an investment opportunity for one. Obviously, a home. I can't speak yet, Charlotte. I'm sure we'll know, but a property that you can grow into. So a property for a future family potentially, for work commitments. So we're wanting, people are coming in far more informed now, and they're just wanting just plenty of information from us with a good quality product as well at the end of it.
Yeah. And I think for you, Charlotte, did you look at buying both new and an older property, and what sort of led you to buy a new build?
I think for us it was always going to be new.
Yeah.
Purely because we didn't really have much knowledge around if we needed to do work on a different property, we wouldn't know where to start. Yeah. We weren't really, clued up on that kind of stuff. So the new build really appealed to us in that sense that everything was going to be done and we could just live in it straight away. So yeah, we were always looking at new.
Yeah.
Renovation's expensive, isn't it? I mean, we ran some figures, an external firm ran some figures, and a new kitchen's upwards of £15,000. So, when you're a first-time buyer, your money is for your deposit, isn't it? Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah. Predominantly your deposit, and also your furniture and your fixtures and fittings and so on. Mm-hmm. So to then have to factor in the cost of a kitchen, any additional works externally that needs to be done, gardens, landscaping, it's a significant cost. So I completely agree that it's far easier buying a new build property. It's far more convenient and significantly cheaper in comparison. Mm-hmm.
And do you think there's other factors that play into first-time buyers buying with us in terms of like location, transport link?
I think a lot of our developments, bought in Lancashire, and a lot of our developments, including Wales, Cheshire, Lancashire, we pride ourselves on buying plots of land where there's a lot of infrastructure, so job security, schooling, commutability, so near the M56, the motorways, them links. So I think people are looking at, as I said earlier, growing into it, schooling, amenities and so on. So there's a lot that we take into consideration when we're looking to acquire the land. And then obviously when we're on the land, it's the money that we pump into the local community as well, and we build that community feel. So I think that's a massive thing for first-time buyers. Certainly myself, I've bought recently as well, and it was the main thing we were looking for was education. Yeah. So and then schooling system.
I think a huge thing for first-time buyers is obviously finances. It's quite a big step in everyone's life. Obviously, we do have schemes still available, so we still have Help to Buy available in Wales. We've just introduced the own new rate reducer scheme, which is also accessible for first-time buyers. Did you use any schemes to buy your home? And if not, was there anything you found useful financially?
So I personally didn't use any schemes, but my partner Sam, he had a Help to Buy. Sorry, not Help to Buy, a lifetime ISA.
Yeah.
So he had, the savings built up plus the percentage from the government, you know, if he saved that figure. So that really, really helped him. We found that really useful because obviously with a lifetime ISA, you can only use that money to purchase your first property.
Yeah.
I didn't use any schemes. Mine was just predominantly from savings. I think with Sam having the lifetime ISA and me having to just save, it was very much just finding useful tips and ways to try and save as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Because obviously Sam had the extra help with the percentage from the government, so that always, kind of really helped.
And did you do a lot of budgeting in terms of like what you thought you'd need when you move in and things like that?
Yeah, so we had the mentality of if we over budget, it'll hopefully work in our favour. So before we even really started looking, we started to save for the deposit, but we also set money aside for furniture and bills and all the things that I think sometimes are forgotten about a little bit in the process of moving. So that was really important, and there was loads of people helping us and guiding us with that kind of stuff. So we tried to set money aside each month, just see, and we had our eye on what we wanted.
Yeah.
So even though we didn't have a property, we kind of knew the bits and bobs we wanted in our home eventually that we could set money aside for. And that was really helpful when we came to then move in, because you're not then spending loads and loads of money. You've almost got it saved up, so it was really handy.
Yeah. And I think for people who do want to use schemes, Tom, maybe just a quick intro of Help to Buy and Own New.
Yeah, I'll quickly touch on the lifetime ISA. I think that's a superb scheme, and I don't think it gets enough airtime, as it should. You can save up to £4,000 per year, with £1,000 then given tax-free from the government. There is a cap to that, but it's still a significant amount of money. It's free money, basically. So I can definitely see why your partner Sam, utilised that. In terms of the Own New, it is quite a new scheme. It's only just been introduced recently, and it's a 3 or 5%, so it's upwards of 5%. That the Anwyl Homes could offer to the client, and that's basically given to the lender. And then what will happen there? Then it will reduce your interest rate significantly, so your monthly repayments are then lowered compared to what you can get on the open market. In terms of how that works, there's a couple of lenders out there at the moment. There's Nationwide and Virgin Money that offer it, and it can. How I've seen it and how I see how it's going to help first-time buyers is that it's allowing you to, if you've still got your car payments, because evidently if you've been renting or living with parents, your disposable income's been spent on a nice car, you still want your 2 holidays a year, and you set your budget, don't you, like you referred to earlier, you set it high, and then to lower that and bring that down, what you're spending on a weekend, it's difficult to do. So the Own New scheme's allowing you to purchase that brand new property that you've wanted, but still be able to factor in your lifestyle that you've got now. And we've seen a slight uptake in interest on it. But as I say, it's an incredibly new scheme. But how I see it as well, sorry, I'm digressing slightly, but I think anybody who's struggling for that affordability, it's been very difficult after COVID with the interest rates being so incredibly low. People thinking that them rates are the norm. They're not. This own new scheme, it's bringing them, I wouldn't say back to where that was, but not a million miles away. And if it's a 2 or 5 year fix you're obtaining with that, then promotion in work, your child might be then off to school. My situation is I'm paying a significant amount of nursery fees. The own new scheme would be perfect for myself and my partner, because in 2 years' time, my daughter will go to nursery. Then when I'm out of that fixed term and the interest rates go up to the normal amount, then that would be subsidised with the nursery fees then going. So I think it's people, it's basically filling that void where people just can't get onto the ladder. They just need that help. That is the perfect scheme just to get you over the line. And Help to Buy, that's now Help to Buy Wales. So it's for our Welsh division, but it's upwards, any property up to 300,000. And we all know the Help to Buy scheme, but it's 5% deposit and a 20% equity loan from the government, which then brings your loan to value to 75%. So again, your interest rates are significantly lower than what you'd be getting with a 10%. Did you 10% yourself?
Yeah, we did 10%, and then we had an incentive which we could have either put towards the deposit or spent on kind of extras within the house.
What did you choose?
We ultimately decided the deposit. Just because we'd budgeted separately for extras and things like that within the house. But we also thought, the more deposit you put down, you lower our monthly mortgage payments would be. And obviously, like you said, with the interest rates and things going up and down, we just felt like it was more sensible to use it towards the deposit.
100%. And it's the equity then you've got in the property.
Yeah.
It's like what I touched on earlier about a new build being an investment. You've bought on a development. By the time we get to the end of the development, with the market the way it is, you will see us steadily increase the price of the properties we release. So we always say create the urgency for people to purchase, and that's not a sales ploy. It's genuinely next releases see an increase. So it's a good time to buy now, because the equity you've put or gained already in your property, you will see that naturally increase as the house prices rise.
We've already discussed sort of renovations, but was there anything else, other factors that made you lean more towards buying an Anwyl home rather than an older property?
Obviously, the new build properties are all gorgeous when they're finished. So that really drew us in compared to an older property. Just having things done for us, for example, the kitchen, like you said before, you touched on, the price of a new kitchen is really, really high. So it was just saving on things like that. And it was all brand new, we didn't have to think about anything other than just furnishing it how we wanted to. I felt like if we went for something like an older property, we lost that, I'm trying to think of the word, we lost, the advantage of picking what we wanted in our home. So just the fact that everything was done, it was all nice and
shiny
modern. You just love it, don't you? It's just what you want when you're, especially when you're moving in, and it's a lot of pressure and it can be quite overwhelming. So having everything done and picked it just took the pressure off, and we could just really enjoy the moving in process. It was really good.
Absolutely. And I think one thing that people often forget about is when you buy an Anwyl home, you obviously get a 2-year Anwyl and a 10-year NHBC warranty as well, which is important.
Yeah, definitely.
What other factors, when first-time buyers are buying their first home, make it a good investment for the future?
I think you touched on it then about the warranty element of it. I think to myself that when you're purchasing a second-hand property, it can be a bottomless pit. So you relentlessly, new boiler, and new roof tiles, etc. There's a leak, there's damp-proof issues. And these are things that we find on a day-to-day basis when we're selling properties to clients that have sold their homes. And we monitor and work through the sales progression and the structural surveys that are the bane of my life. Not on our properties, we have the NHBC, which I'll touch on shortly. And there's stuff that comes out in the woodwork, the renegotiation, then the clients are taking less than what they sold the property for because they've realised a new roof's required. That was the most recent one I've had to deal with. So in terms of an investment, you're not having to pump that money into your property apart from aesthetically. So if you're wanting, like you were saying before, touching on, updating bits, new sofa and so on, in terms of structurally, you are covered with the NHBC for a 10-year period. So in terms of that, I also think buying on a development earlier rather than later as well is very beneficial. It is, excuse the pun, but it is the foundations of the economy, the housing market. And there are obviously tricky patches that we've been through, the recession and obviously COVID and so on. But we've come out of that and we are seeing property prices increasing. Our Rightmove statistics that we're given, nationwide statistics, it's incredibly positive for the future. So it's that investment. And we do build a community. And that's so important. At the end of the development, you can go on and there are family homes and there's schools that are being built, and maybe not on the development, but in the area to accommodate for that. So I think an investment, 100% new build over second hand.
I think that's actually a really important point to touch on, is that obviously when you buy a new build, you're sort of moving into a community at the same time as everyone else. So have you had time to like chat to the neighbours yet? Have you met anyone else?
So on our little road, all the houses around us are still being built.
Yeah.
But further around the development, everyone's kind of moved in and settled in. So we haven't actually seen many people yet, but I keep seeing them change the for sale signs to sold. And I'm like, oh, we're going to have neighbours soon. Yeah, you can see people pulling up in the cars and, having a look in the evenings and stuff. And, all the stuff that we kind of did before we moved in.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting because I think they'll start coming in drips and drabs, and we'll get to meet everyone, which is really good.
Absolutely. Another important point worth touching on is obviously a big advantage of new builds is energy efficiency, which is a hot topic everywhere right now. Was it something you considered when buying new, potential cost of bills, etc.?
Yeah, I think, again, like I was saying before, we, really tried to over budget in terms of bills and things like that. I think we're still learning a lot about the energy efficient cost of things, all the sustainability, things like that. So I think the fact that we over budgeted and we're more aware of it than have a proper knowledge about it, it benefited us. And obviously the guidance from the sales team within, the sales centre at the development, they were all really helpful when we were asking things about bills and stuff. Because I think as a first-time buyer, it's, we personally didn't have that knowledge, as most people might do. But we felt really comfortable in asking the questions and finding out and using the resources, which was really important to us because at the end of the day, you pay a lot of money for it. You don't want to go in with no knowledge or... So everyone was really helpful with that. It was really good.
Yeah, and I think we're definitely finding all buyers are coming in asking more questions about energy efficiency now.
Definitely. Yeah, it's become a massive talking point in the sales office. Got your mortgage payment, your car payment, everything else, and then a gas and electric bill coming in over of that's hard to take as well. So we provided an affordability schedule or affordability calculator as well, which you probably would have received at the beginning. Just gives you an approximate house type, size and so on of what you'd be paying in your bills, gas, water, electric and so on. So that's good, and that's what we've been providing at point of reservation as well. So a lot of our developments now we've built with the older regulations, and then we're just now transitioning into developments with the new regulations, which I won't bore you too much on, but incredibly interesting in terms of some developments are now benefiting from air source heat pumps, and they're taking away the gas boilers in the properties. And some of the statistics at the moment, there's some significant savings that are coming out from that. We've also got solar panels or PV panels that are going on some of our properties, and also electric vehicle charging points, which I believe you may have benefited from.
Yes, yeah, we have. Yeah, so I've got an electric car, so that came in really handy for us to have. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure, but is it most new build properties now?
A lot of our developments do have electric car charging points.
Yeah, so that was really beneficial. And I think we'll definitely look to add things like solar panels and things like that just to really reap the benefits, yeah.
Okay, so in terms of moving in and how you've designed your home, how have you found that? And, sometimes it can be quite overwhelming moving into a house that's got absolutely nothing in it. So how have you found it?
Yeah, really good. It's been really exciting. Like you said, you move in and you have all these ideas, but you're literally faced with blank walls.
Yeah.
So sometimes it can feel really daunting of where to start and making decisions as well. If you put something on the wall, it's there unless you can take it down. So we tried to stay just really, really almost like basic and neutral. so that we can add, what we want and things where we want. But yeah, that's the most exciting part, I think, actually getting to design your house, which is good.
Have you had any other friends that are in the same circumstances, and would you recommend buying new to other first-time buyers?
Yeah, so I think because Sam and I are only 23 and 24, so we're still quite young. Yeah. Obviously really fortunate to be in this position, being able to buy a house this young. So a couple of our friends are kind of looking, the majority of our, friends do rent. So it's been a bit of a, different setup, kind of thing. So it's been really nice to kind of like educate them on different things and, vice versa. And I do think that, the investment side of it has been so much better for us. And I definitely recommend you buying, people say all the time, try and get yourself on the property ladder. It's it can be really important. So, we've taken the leap, we've done it, and we've got absolutely no regrets. It's been great.
And what would you say to first-time buyers looking to buy with Anwyl? What's a good starting point? What can we offer in that early start of the process?
I think first of all, come and visit our sales office. I'm sure you did, Charlotte. Yeah. And we can recommend financial advisors. And I think that's probably the first. We want to know, or the clients certainly want to know, first-time buyers want to know what they're going to be spending, how much they can afford, first of all. And we can recommend these financial advisors. We have 2 trusted financial advisors on our side, and they'd be more than happy to go through the affordability with you. I think you've done incredibly well at 23 and 24 respectively to buy your first home. And it's great to, I'm sure all your friends are thinking, if you can do it, then we can do it. Yeah. And budgeting and saving, it's we are seeing more and more first-time buyers, especially at the start of this calendar year. And did you use a financial advisor during the process for yourself?
So we had we went with who Anwyl recommended. Again, it was more an education thing. We didn't really know where to start, who to go with. There's loads of financial advisors out there, and we felt like going with who Anwyl recommended would be sensible. But again, really helpful with education and giving us knowledge on what we could afford and what we were looking at, kind of thing.
Did you utilise the green mortgage? A green mortgage? Did you utilise that?
No. Okay. Don't think so.
You love a green mortgage.
I do love a green mortgage. I discussed it the last podcast as well. No idea. You may have done it. It goes unnoticed, to be honest, but it's any property that benefits from an EPC rating of B and above, you can get a slightly better interest rate through, and this is why new build is leaps and bounds better in terms of what you can get in the mortgage market, because of the energy efficiency of the new homes, which is what I was touching on earlier with the new Part L and the new regulations we're building to. Around 90% of the properties we'll be building going forward will be an energy efficient rating of an A, which is again unheard of. And this is why we're seeing a lot of properties coming on the market in the second-hand market, because people have invested into these properties, need to get the ratings up, and to do so it costs a significant amount of money. So we're seeing them selling that and buying our properties.
Have you got any tips you've learned along the way that you would give to a first-time buyer now?
Just use your resources, I'd say, and just really take it all in. I think it's gone so quick, the whole process, that we've really had to just feel really lucky that we've been able to do it. And it's been as smooth as it has been. I think, we've, like I was touched on earlier before, we've been looking for nearly 2 years. So, and you do get messed about a little bit. So, but with Anwyl, we had absolutely none of that. So it was really good. But just enjoy it, just take it all in. Over budget, I think, was the biggest thing for us, because that just really benefited us when we actually came to making those big payments and, things like that. So, I think, but just really enjoy it. Yeah. It's really exciting.
And you did a really good job at documenting the process.
Yeah,
like
and document. And I think that's, buying, like you said earlier on, rather than later on, we got that opportunity to watch the stages and go into the property when it was, structural, and you get to see it all. And it just makes it so much more special, seeing that that's your home.
Yeah.
grow, and it's really nice, and it's really good. So we really loved it. It was good.
Well, thank you so much, both, for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.